The chamber of the Dravari War Council shimmered with the glow of 1,000 hollow displays. Maps of the Perseus expanse flickered across the air, each red pulse marking another human colony. Admiral Carzo leaned forward, claws drumming against the table as his officers recited reports. "Scouts claim the humans' new warships maneuver unnaturally," said a junior commander. His scales shifted nervously, betraying unease. "They insist the vessels react as if alive." Carzo laughed, the sound harsh and guttural. "Machines do not hunt. Machines obey. These mammals cobble together myths because they cannot face the truth. They are outmatched. We will end their expansion before it begins. I will not tolerate fear in my fleet." The chamber quieted. His officers bowed their heads. To them, his word was final. To him, the matter was settled. But the seed of rumor had been planted. Commander Elena Vera stood rigid at Earth's fleet command, staring at the hollow projection of the Perseus expanse. Entire star systems blinked red where Dominion ships had struck. Her jaw tightened. 2 worlds already gone, thousands of lives lost, and more colonies teetering on the edge. "Commander Vera," said Admiral Corin, his voice gravel-rough, "you're to take the UNS Resolute and establish a defense line in Perseus. You'll protect the remaining colonies until reinforcements arrive." Elena nodded once. "Understood." "What are we facing?" "An armada," Corin said bluntly. "The Dominion is probing our borders. We believe Admiral Carzol is directing operations personally." Elena's throat tightened at the name. She forced her voice steady. "Then he'll learn Perseus isn't undefended." Corin studied her. "The Resolute is no ordinary frigate. Her neuroreactive drive is untested. Some believe it gives us an edge. Others believe it's dangerous. Sir, with respect, rumors won't stop the Dominion. We need every advantage." His eyes narrowed, weighing her resolve. Finally, he said, "Then Godspeed, Commander. Make Perseus hold." The Resolute waited in orbit like a predator coiled to strike. Its hull gleamed silver-black, lines of living circuitry pulsing faint blue. Elena boarded with her small escort, boots echoing on the deck. The ship felt different from any vessel she had commanded before, more like stepping inside a nervous system than a machine. Her executive officer, Lieutenant Commander Rian Holt, met her at the command deck. He was tall, stoic, and carried a soldier's calm. "Welcome aboard, Captain. She's ready for deployment, though engineering says the neural core still hums." "Hums?" Elena arched an eyebrow. "Like it's waiting," Holt said dryly. "Don't ask me for poetry. The texts swear it isn't dangerous. Just unsettling." She allowed herself the smallest smile. "Good. Unsettling is what we need." The crew assembled for her address. Young faces, old veterans, engineers smeared with grease, pilots restless for flight. She studied them a moment before speaking. "You've heard the rumors," Elena began. "That Dominion fleets crush everything in their path. That we can't stand against them. You've also heard whispers that this ship is special. Forget all of it. The only thing that matters is this: if Perseus falls, our people die. We are their shield. We fight, we hold, or we burn with them. Understood?" A chorus of "Yes, ma'am," answered. The tension shifted, resolve hardening into steel. 2 days later, the first distress call arrived. A transport convoy fleeing the colony of Deros was under attack. Elena ordered an immediate intercept. The bridge hummed with activity as the Resolute dropped from FTL into the firelit chaos of the system. 4 Dominion raiders swarmed the convoy, plasma lances stabbing into civilian hulls. Screams crackled over comms. "Bring weapons online!" Elena barked. "Targets locked," reported Ensign Mara, her voice tight but steady. "Engage." The Resolute surged forward. Railguns thundered, tearing through the nearest raider. The enemy twisted to respond, but the Resolute moved first. It tilted on an axis no warship should manage, sliding between enemy volleys as if it had anticipated the shots. On the bridge, Holt stared wide-eyed. "That maneuver! I didn't order it, Mara whispered, hands gripping controls. It felt like the ship knew. Focus, Elena snapped. But inside, her pulse quickened. The battle burned fast and brutal. One raider gutted, another crippled. The last two broke formation, scrambling to regroup, but the Resolute cut through them with surgical precision. Within minutes, the convoy was safe. The bridge fell silent except for the hiss of cooling systems. Crew exchanged stunned looks. They had fought well, but it hadn't been just them. Elena studied the flicker of lights across the command console. The neural drive pulsed like a heartbeat. She forced her voice even. Damage report? Minor, Holt said. We're intact. Captain, that wasn't us alone. Elena held his gaze. Then maybe the rumors are true. A broken raider limped away, its hull aflame. Inside, its commander scrambled to transmit a message. His voice trembled as he spoke. The human ship, it doesn't fight like the others. It hunts. It thinks. We were not fighting a vessel. We were prey. The transmission reached Karzal's flagship hours later. The Admiral's eyes narrowed as he replayed the words. Around him, silence hung heavy. For the first time, his claws stilled against the table. He bared his teeth. Prey that dares bite back? Then I will tear their illusions apart. Ready the fleet. We end this farce. Elena stood alone in her quarters, staring at a photograph of her brother. His smile frozen in time, lost in a Dominion raid years ago. She pressed the picture to the desk, voice barely a whisper. They think we're fragile. They don't know us at all. Outside the viewport, the Resolute glided against the stars, silent and waiting. A storm was coming. And humanity's answer had just been born. The colony transports drifted into Persis Station's docks like wounded animals limping home. Hulls scorched, compartments venting atmosphere, passengers huddled in shock. Commander Elena Vera walked the gangway past them, jaw locked, eyes scanning faces, children clutching tattered packs, medics carrying bodies covered in sheets. She forced herself not to stop. Sympathy could wait, survival could not. Her executive officer, Holt, caught up. 17 ships made it. 4 lost. Thousands dead. His voice was flat, but the bitterness was plain. They bought us time, Elena said. We'll use it. They also prove the Dominion knows exactly where to strike. She nodded. Holt was right. This wasn't raiding, it was systematic. The Dominion wanted to bleed Persis dry until it collapsed. That night, Elena sat in her cabin, the light dim, a mug cooling at her elbow. Reports scrolled across her display, intercepted transmissions, fragments of orders. One phrase kept repeating, Admiral Karzal advancing personally. She leaned back, exhaling. If he was here, then Persis was no longer a side campaign. It was extermination. Her thoughts drifted unwillingly to her brother. His voice, his laughter, the way he used to call her reckless for joining the Navy. He'd been on a frontier colony when the Dominion came. Gone in an instant, one bombardment. She closed her eyes, let the grief harden into fuel. The next morning, the Resolute's crew gathered for briefing. Maps shimmered above the table. Dominion convoy spotted here, Holt reported, pointing at a sector near a gas giant. Looks like supply ships. But it's almost too obvious. Too obvious, muttered Engineer Kalin. His arms were crossed, grease smearing his sleeves. They're dangling bait. We bite, we get crushed. And if we don't? Asked Ensign Mara the pilot. Those supplies reach the front, and more colonies fall. The room shifted uncomfortably. Elena studied each of them before speaking. We're not scavengers who pick the safe fight. If civilians are at risk, we act. If it's a trap, we spring it on our terms. Holt frowned. Captain, if you're wrong, then Persis burns faster. She cut in. We don't have the luxury of hesitation. The decision was made. Orders relayed, battle stations prepared. The Resolute slid from dock like a blade drawn from its sheath. They arrived on the edge of the gas giant's gravity well. Convoy ships drifted in formation, escorts circling lazily. Too neat. Too careless. Picking up faint signatures, Mara whispered. Behind the gas giant. Elena's pulse quickened. How many? Counting, at least a dozen. Heavier tonnage than us. The trap was sprung. Contact! Dominion fleet moving in! Holt barked. The bridge flared red with warning lights as enemy ships surged from the planet's shadow, weapons igniting. Helm, evasive! Weapons, return fire! Elena's voice snapped like a whip. The resolute Dove, plasma bolts screaming past. Its railguns thundered back, ripping through the closest frigate. But the swarm was too many. They tightened their net, trying to crush her against the gas giant's pull. The ship's neurodrive pulsed. The crew felt it, an instinct threading through their nerves. Mara's hands moved faster than she thought possible, the ship rolling clear of an impossible spread. Gunners reported hits they hadn't expected to land. Kalen cursed over the comms. The drive's drawing more power than we're feeding it. I'm patching through redundancies, but it's like it's anticipating. Then trust it, Elena snapped. All stations, follow the ship's lead. The battle became chaos. Dominion captains barked orders, their formations breaking as the Resolute twisted like a predator darting between them. Human instincts meshed with machine reflexes, turning the frigate into something unorthodox and terrifying. But the cost mounted. Shields flared, hull plating scorched. One engine screamed under stress. We can't outgun them forever! Holt shouted. Elena's eyes flicked to the gas giant. Its pull, its storms, its rings, an idea cut through the haze. Helm, set course straight for the planet. The crew froze. Into the well? Holt demanded. They won't follow. Their ships can't handle the gravitation edge. We can. Mara hesitated. If you're wrong. Do it! Elena barked. The Resolute plunged toward the giant's atmosphere, the planet filling the viewport like a burning sea. Gravity gripped them, alarms howled. Dominion ships fired wildly but held back, unwilling to risk the descent. Angle 43 degrees! Elena ordered. Use the gravity to slingshot us out. The ship shuddered, groaning as if alive, systems straining. The crew clung to their stations as the giant's pull bent their trajectory. Then, release. The Resolute shot free of the well, streaking past the Dominion net, battered but alive. Cheers erupted on the bridge. Mara let out a whoop of disbelief. Kalen's voice cracked over comms. I don't know if we survived because of you, Captain, or because the ship wanted to, but I'll take it. Elena's breath came steady, eyes fixed on the stars ahead. We survived because we refused to break. Remember that. Hours later, the crew worked through repairs. Hull breaches sealed, scorched plating patched, wounded tended. The victory tasted bitter. They had escaped, but the ship bore scars. In the quiet of the ready room, Holt confronted her. Captain, you risked everything on a maneuver no sane commander would attempt. And it worked, Elena replied evenly. It worked this time. What happens when the ship decides otherwise? What if we're not in control? Elena studied him. You're afraid of it. I'm afraid of us mistaking luck for strength, Holt said. His voice was low but steady. I've seen commanders start believing myths, and it killed their crews. For a moment, silence. Then Elena said, This isn't myth. You felt it. Every one of us did. This ship isn't just hardware. It's something more. And if we harness it, we'll win. Holt didn't answer, but his frown spoke volumes. Far across the stars, Admiral Karzul received word of the failed ambush. His chamber darkened as the report concluded. Human frigate escaped Dominion net, enemy convoy rescued, losses heavy. Karzul's claws clenched hard enough to score the table. He hissed low, a sound like tearing steel. They mock us with defiance. They twist through our grasp like beasts. Enough games. His eyes burned cold. Prepare the flagship. I will see these humans crushed with my own hand. Back aboard the Resolute, Elena returned to her quarters, exhaustion pressing down. She set her brother's photograph on the desk again, tracing the edges with her fingers. "They think we're fragile," she whispered. "But we don't shatter. We bend. We fight. And we endure." The ship hummed around her, faint and steady, like a heartbeat. Outside, stars burned silent witness to the storm building between predator and prey. And for the first time, the prey had teeth. The Resolute drifted in Perseus orbit, scarred from the gas giant escape. Hull plates bore scorch marks, and one engine still wheezed under repair. Inside, the crew moved like shadows through dim-lit corridors, exhaustion heavy but tempered by pride. They had survived a battle no one expected them to return from. Commander Elena Vera stood at the observation deck, watching dock crews crawl across the ship's skin like ants patching a wounded beast. Her reflection in the glass looked harder than she remembered, eyes sharp, jaw set. Behind her, Holt approached quietly. "Repairs are progressing. We'll be space-worthy in 30 hours. 30? She asked, not turning. "That's the optimistic number," Holt said. "Kalen says we're holding this ship together with spit and desperation." A faint smile tugged at her lips. "He's not wrong, Captain," Holt said carefully. The crew's unsettled. They felt it. The ship's guidance. Some think it saved us. Others think it dragged us along without choice. Elena finally faced him. "Does it matter if we lived? It matters if we start mistaking the ship for a miracle instead of what it is, a weapon we barely understand." Her gaze held his. "We'll understand it when it counts." Holt's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "Then you should know. Dominion fleet's on the move. And Karzul's flagship is with them." Elena turned back to the stars, her pulse steady. "Then it's time." The Dominion armada spilled into the Perseus expanse like a tide of steel. Dozens of warships, their hulls bristling with weapons, converged with chilling precision. At their core, a massive flagship loomed, armored like a fortress, Karzul's throne of war. On the flagship's bridge, Karzul studied the tactical display with disdain. "The humans cling to a single frigate, as though one ship could defy an empire. Today we shatter their illusion." His second-in-command inclined his head. "Shall we surround and overwhelm them?" "No," Karzul growled. "We will not smother them. We will bleed them openly. Let every survivor see how fragile their champions truly are." Aboard the Resolute, tension hung thick as the alarm klaxons sounded. The crew scrambled to stations. Elena strode onto the bridge, her voice cutting through the storm. "All hands, this is it. The Dominion thinks we're broken prey. They're bringing everything to prove it. But we're still here. We're still breathing. And today, we show them what it means to face humans in their own hunting ground." Mara grinned nervously at the helm. "Guess we're the bait now." "Then let's bite back," Elena said. The battle began with fire and fury. The Dominion fleet surged, beams lancing across the void, rail slugs hammering shields. The Resolute answered in kind, its guns barking defiantly. Escort frigates around her fought valiantly, but the Dominion's sheer numbers tore into them. "2 escorts down!" Holt shouted over the roar of alarms. "They're focusing fire on us!" Mara cried. "Good," Elena said coldly. "Let them." The neurodrive pulsed, and once more the ship seemed to stir alive. It twisted through enemy fire with uncanny foresight, weaving between plasma volleys as though the enemy's moves were already known. The crew felt it, the subtle pull, a rhythm guiding them, sharpening instincts. "Targets locking before I even finish calibrating," the gunner reported, awe in his voice. Kalen cursed from engineering. "The ship's drawing every reserve we have. It's burning through relays like kindling, but it's holding." Elena gripped her chair. "Then push harder." Karzul watched from his flagship, eyes narrowing as the Resolute danced between his ships. Every maneuver defied logic, every strike too precise. "Impossible," he hissed. "No machine reacts like that." "Perhaps the rumors," his officer began. Karzul cut him off with a snarl. "Silence. Superstition has no place here. It is trickery, nothing more. But unease rippled through his crew as the human frigate carved through another Dominion vessel. The Resolute bled. Hull plating cracked, one rail gun went silent, fires raged in compartments. Still it fought on, weaving with deadly instinct. On the bridge, smoke curled from panels, sparks rained down. We can't take much more, Holt barked. Then we finish this now, Elena said. Her eyes locked on the massive flagship dominating the field. Set course for Karzul. Mara's hands froze on the helm. Straight at the flagship? They came for a spectacle, Elena said. Let's give them one. The crew exchanged grim looks, but no one refused. The Resolute turned into the storm. The final clash was chaos incarnate. Karzul's flagship unleashed its arsenal, beams scything across the void, torpedoes filling space with death. The Resolute danced through it all, impossibly close, its neurodrive sinking fully with its crew. Every dodge, every strike felt less like command and more like instinct. Fire on the command tower! Elena ordered. Railguns thundered, slamming into the flagship's shields. Karzul roared, his claws gouging the arm of his chair. Crush them! He bellowed. Tear that vessel apart! But the Resolute moved like no machine should, cutting across his ship's blind arc, hammering its weak points. The neurodrive pulsed like a living heart, guiding Elena's orders, feeding the crew's reflexes. Kalen shouted over comms. She's tearing herself apart doing this! Then we hold together until they break! Elena snapped. The killing blow came sudden, brutal. The Resolute dove beneath the flagship's belly, railguns slamming point-blank into its engine core. The blast ripped through the warship, fire blossoming across its hull. On his bridge, Karzul staggered as alarms screamed. His officer cried out, We've lost engines! Shields collapsing! Karzul's eyes burned with disbelief. No, machines do not hunt! His words dissolved into static as the flagship erupted, a dying star tearing itself apart. Silence followed. The Dominion fleet faltered, panic seeping through their ranks. Without their leader, their formations collapsed. One by one, ships broke away, retreating into the void. On the Resolute's bridge, the crew sat stunned amid smoke and wreckage. Then cheers erupted, raw and disbelieving. Mara whooped, slamming her fist on the console. Even Holt allowed himself a rare smile. Elena rose slowly, the adrenaline fading, her body heavy with exhaustion. She gazed at the burning wreckage drifting outside. They wanted to know what makes us special. Her voice was quiet, but carried through the bridge. Now they do. Hours later, the fires were out, the wounded tended. The Resolute hung scarred but alive, a lone survivor in a field of wreckage. Elena sat in her quarters, staring at her brother's photo once more. For the first time in years, the weight on her chest eased. We're not prey, she whispered. Not anymore. Outside, the stars burned cold and bright, indifferent witnesses to history. Rumors would spread, whispers of haunted human ships, of frigates that fought like beasts, of prey that turned on their hunters. And deep within the Resolute's hull, the neurodrive pulsed faintly, steady as a heartbeat. The war was far from over. But humanity had announced itself.